guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to be talking about my dating experience, which you will have seen by the title. If you are new to this video, hi, my name is Lauren and welcome to my channel. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video and subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let's get into it. What did you like most about being long distance? So this is Josh's classic situation. So Josh said to what did you like most about being long distance? The off switch. Anytime I wanted, I could just get off Skype, mute Lauren, etc. And it also made it extra special when we met up because we missed each other and we would be really excited every time. So yeah, we used to Skype a lot, which obviously if someone's annoying you, you can just press mute or hang up. We can't do that anymore. If we're annoying each other, we can't just mute or hang up on each other. So that was something that Josh really liked about long distance, is that he was able to like hang up when I got annoying or mute me so that he can't hear me anymore. You know, he used to love doing that, and as you can imagine, it used to drive me crazy, but we got through it. We're married, we're very happy, it's all good. The other thing, it made it extra special when we met up because we missed each other and we'd be really excited every time. We would be so excited, like we would be so excited to see each other. And I'm not even kidding, like I am the kind of person that now, even though I live with Josh, I still get super excited to see him sometimes. He walks out the spare room after work and I'm like I still get really excited about seeing him. But it's definitely different when you're long distance, you've not seen each other for 2 months and you get to see each other and you get to spend the day in London and it's really special and you get to plan loads of fun stuff and really make memories with each other, and that's super fun. So we did really love doing that. Would you recommend a long distance relationship? Josh said yes, definitely, if it was the right person, but not for the sake of it. You have to actually have a chance of it going somewhere. And I would say a very similar thing. Like, obviously it's a lot of work. A long distance relationship is a lot of work and you've both got to be committed enough to keep it going. As soon as someone isn't committed and starts not replying to messages or starts not to be bothered about Skype or starts to not really care, like as soon as all those things start to kind of like fade away, it's very hard to keep it going because it can't just be one person giving it their all and trying to stay in contact. It has to be both of you. So that is something that worked really well for Josh and I, is that even though Josh is not the most sociable, chatty, outgoing person, with me, he really loved me and he was committed to me, and so we both were able to keep in contact with each other. I mean, there were days when Josh forgot to message me and I'd have to be like, hey, I'd really like to speak to you today, and he'd be like, I'm sorry, I'm busy, I'll speak to you tomorrow. But it's really like communication in long distance is so important. So as soon as that breaks off, it's just almost impossible to keep it going. And I would say it has to be the right person and you have to both want it, because if you don't, then it will really easily fizzle out and it just won't be enough. So if you are confident and you know that it's going to work and you both are putting in the effort, then totally I would recommend a long distance relationship. It is so worth it. Josh and I have such strong communication in our marriage. And I think that is purely down to the fact that we were long distance and that we had to communicate about everything. That the main part of our relationship when we were dating was communication, nothing else. The main part was us communicating with each other. So now that has really benefited our marriage. So in that sense, I'd really recommend a long distance relationship because it does really make you hone down on what's important to you, talking about what's important to you. Right, next question. What advice would you give someone who was in a long distance relationship and was struggling with seeing the end of it? So Josh said, make a plan. At least then you know the end will be coming and when it will be, roughly. So again, I would totally agree with that, go figure. But something that was so important to me and something that was the reason we were so sure about getting married is because we had to know there was an end to the long distance. We couldn't have carried on like that. We ended up being long distance relationship for 3 years in total before we actually got married and moved in together. And honestly, there were times that were super hard, and the only thing that got us through would be seeing each other at the end of the week, knowing that we were seeing each other at the end of the week, or knowing that in 6 months' time we're going to get married, or, you know, knowing that we actually wanted to be with each other long term made a huge difference, because it didn't feel like a waste of time or a waste of emotions. And I'm not sitting at home and crying because I miss Josh and then feeling like it's a waste because I don't even know if it's going to work out. You know, we were really, really sure that we wanted to be together forever. And that made such a huge difference with being in a long distance relationship, because it meant that it was easier to cope with the missing and the hurt and the love and the pain and the sacrifice of having to choose stuff over seeing each other and having to prioritize stuff. And it made it so worth it, knowing that we were going to see each other at the weekend or next weekend, or there was always something for us to look forward to and always something for us to have, so that we could know, okay, I miss you now, but I'm seeing you in 5 days, or I miss you now, but I'm seeing you in a couple of weeks. You know, there was always something that we had to look forward to. So I would say, if you're in a long distance relationship and you're struggling with seeing the end of it, is make sure there's an end. Make a plan. Whatever it is, if you want to commit to each other and get married, then talk about it. Make those plans, put those plans in place, so you know there's an end to it. What were the hard aspects about being a Christian and being in a long distance relationship? So Josh said we couldn't go to church together and not having sex and all that stuff. So I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but that was something we found super, super hard. And I definitely think we would have found it even harder if we actually lived close together. One, going to church together is a really nice thing. I know Josh kind of said that in a semi-jokey way when I asked him about it, but I actually really did love going to church with him on Sundays. And I think it's really important to get an idea of where your partner's head is in terms of church and in terms of what church they want to go to. And so being able to go to church together really helps you explore that. And it's something that's really important in part of a dating relationship, going to church together. And that was something that we lacked because we were long distance. So whenever we would go to each other's houses, we would always go to our parents' churches. But, you know, they were both very different, the churches that we went to. So it was really hard to kind of get an idea of what we both wanted individually as a couple in terms of going to church. So that is something that has been like a bit rocky in our marriage, because we've never really had like a firm foundation of church. And even though we've talked about it, we've never really fully known, because we've both grown up in very specific churches. So it was very hard for us to figure out, you know, what is important in terms of church and what difference does that make. And it's something that we're definitely still like searching now. It's something we're still trying to figure out now. But I would say that would have been a lot easier if we actually lived close together. So that was definitely hard with long distance. Okay, let me go on to the next question. So Josh said, I said to Josh, did you struggle with no sex before marriage? He said, yes, I did struggle, and because of that we failed. I did continually regret it, but clearly not enough to stop doing it. And this is something, is once you have crossed that line, it's very, very hard to pull it back. And I know a couple of people who've managed to pull it back, and I have so much admiration for them, and I think that they are amazing for the position that they are in. I totally struggled in that area. The next question. What would your advice be to a couple who don't want to have sex? Josh said you should have strong boundaries, don't spend time in private places together alone, always be in public or with other people. So this is something that I would say as well, like something where Josh and I failed. And I'm saying this because if there's anyone watching this that is really like, I really don't want to do this, I really want to know, I'm really struggling to not have sex with my boyfriend, and I really want to know what the best thing to do is, or what I can do to put in place to stop it from happening. And I would say for us, we were very, very lax on our boundaries. We put our boundary in place, and then we pushed it, and we pushed it, and we pushed it, and we pushed it. And I think that's so important in a relationship. If you are Christians and you are wanting to stay pure before marriage and you are not wanting to have sex before marriage, it's so important to make sure that your boundary is strong. And I mean strong. Like, nothing will make it budge. So, for example, if we know that we are going to struggle, we shouldn't let ourselves be alone. You know, we shouldn't put something in place that means we are alone. So if you're in a situation and you've got friends around or you've got families around, you really should say to them, like, you know, I really want to be strong in this. I don't want to give in. You know, be open with your friends and family and just say, please don't, you know, I really need your accountability in this. I want to make sure we're not alone. Can you keep me accountable to that and make sure we're not alone? So that you're not ending up alone together, because that's only when it's going to happen. You know, it's only going to happen if you're alone. So that is a danger zone. You know, you need to recognize that as a danger zone. If we are alone and we are in private, that's a danger zone. So being alone in public, you know, there's still people around you. You can have the time, just the two of you, to connect, but you're not so alone that stuff can happen, you know? So we loved going to London because we would have time, just the two of us, not in each other's houses. We'd meet in the middle and then we'd have time just to spend together, have a picnic, do stuff, and we'd be able to be fully alone and chat together, but we wouldn't be fully alone and in private. And there were lots of mistakes that we'd made. I'm not saying that this is what we did, because this is totally not what we did. But looking back, I know where we went wrong. We were not strong with our boundaries and we let things slip. We pushed them further and further away. Oh, it's okay if we do this, but it's not okay if we do this. Oh, maybe we can do this and maybe we can do this, but we're not going to do this. You know, it's so easy to get caught up in moving your line further and further away. So for us, looking back, I know that something we really failed on was our boundaries. So if you're in that situation where you're in a relationship, you're a Christian, so you really want to stay pure and not have sex before marriage, then I really recommend, and I will strongly say this, is do not push your boundaries. Stick with them. Set them and stick with them. And it will get hard. It will get hard. But again, if you know that you want to be together and you're committed to each other, there is no reason you can't get married. And I think marriage is a beautiful thing, and our whole dating experience led up to what we have now, and it's super special, and I wouldn't change anything for the world, and we learned so much. But please, please, please stick with your boundaries if that's something that you don't want to do. It's very important. But yes, I really hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below. And let me know in the comments your dating experience if you're Christians. Let's have a little chat. If you're in a long distance relationship, let me know, because if you need some advice or need some help or need some prayer, I'll definitely be there. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon, guys. Bye!